Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. So today is just a roundup or a compilation of cactus plants that went into flower for me this year of spring and summer 2021. So I've just put all of my videos together because it was taking too long to edit them separately. So I hope you enjoy some of the cactus plants here that were in bloom. So this one we're currently looking at is the Maticana Madissonorum albiflora. So it's the white flowering variety. I did have maybe 3 or 4 flower buds that grew on this, but they did go and drop off. So this was the only one that bloomed. This one here is Astrophytum myriostigma capricorn, which I got from the cactus shed. So I've had this one for 2 years now, and this is the first time this year that it's gone into flower. So here is a bit of a time-lapse footage here. So the camera did go wrong and I've only got a short amount of footage, but I hope you appreciate the way the bud flower opens and it gives you an idea of how that happens. So at this point the camera broke down and I only managed to capture the last part of the flower opening up. You can just see off to the right hand side the Gymnocalycium spegazzini there, how big that bud is getting. So that one should be in bloom soon. So this isn't fully open, but already it's about 3 centimetres wide, the flower, and the petals on the edges are quite frilly. Now we can see the beginnings of my Astrophytum myriostigma buds. And here is some footage of the Gymnocalycium spegazzini as the bud developed. So today is the 27th of July 2021 and I'm still waiting for this flower to open up on the Gymnocalycium spegazzini here. Now these petals keep on sort of unfurling slightly like this and then they just go back again. So I'm not sure when this is going to actually open up because we've had overcast weather and we've had rain as well for the past few days. So currently at the moment it is 25.6 degrees in here in the evening time and I'm just about to turn the grow lights off. But even so, the flower is still not opening up. So I've had other flowers remain like this for days and days until eventually they run out of energy and then finally they give up the ghost. So I'm not sure how much longer this flower bud is going to carry on going for. And just next door you can see I've had my astrophytum here in flower. And then you'll be pleased to know that finally my beloved astrophytum myriostigma here is finally waking up. So yesterday I noticed some bright lime green colours showing through this grey fluffy bit on the flower buds, which means they're now swelling and expanding. So that's a really good sign now. So today is the 31st of July 2021 and the Gymnocalycium spegazzini cactus plant here, which was gifted to me from Catherine of Purple and Thorns here on YouTube. And I think now it's coming to the end of its flowering. So here we are back to the Astrophytum myriostigma and the buds are developing really nicely on this one. So this cactus always flowers really well under grow lights despite the temperatures. And this one's got a beautiful double bloom again this year. So here they are starting to open up a bit more. And look at how beautiful they look together. Such a beautiful yellow colour. And And here are some close-ups of the stigma and the pollen. So it really does look like a sunshine yellow, such a beautiful cactus. And I'd highly recommend you get one of these in your collection if you don't already. So this astrophytum was one of the very first astrophytum cactus plants I ever got. So it's always extra special for me. And I really love this cactus. And you can see some more buds there, but they didn't go onto flower unfortunately, but they are still attached. And here are those 2 flowers now dying back. So today is the 1st of August 2021, and we're going to be looking at the Gymnocalycium spegazzini again here. And just a note to make that the flower has finally given up now, so you can tell it's finally closed up and it won't reopen because they go very wrinkly and have a rippled texture on the outer surface of the petals, which is a sign this flower's finally closed now. So here is some footage now of a bee that I captured sitting on my Gymnocalycium spegazzini. So he looks like he's cleaning his legs, and he just flew into the window, went straight over to the plant, and he seems to like this cactus. So you'll notice there that I have that flower bud and I tried to pollinate it, but unfortunately that was not successful. So I continued to film the bee because I thought it was quite sweet, and then he just flies off. This is Mammillaria pollitel toluca, and this flowered absolutely loads this year. So I have a few of these plants. They produce flower buds, flowers and fruits all at the same time. Here's a close-up of some of the fruits. They're very pretty plants. This one here I've had for quite a few years, from when it was a very tiny cactus. First time flowering this year. And of course, here's my beautiful Lophophora cactus in flower. And there's its fruit pod. So they start off a very bright pink, and then they start to go a bit faded like you see here before it dries up. This one here is Stenocactus albatus longispinus, produced 1 flower this year. This is another Mammillaria cactus. So this one produced bright pink flowers. And I pollinated this one specifically with Mammillaria carmini, and it produced a fruit. So just on the left hand side there. This next one is Alostera heliosa v condorensis. So I have 2 of these, and these have done really well this year. Both of them have flowered, beautiful red flowers on a long stem. And these were the ones that got damaged during the storm outside in my greenhouse. So they got flooded with the rain, and I found them over a week later underneath the floor of the outside greenhouse. So they survived all of that, and they've really bounced back well, and they have produced offsets this year. So here is the flower dying back, and unfortunately at the time I didn't have anything to pollinate them with. So this is a notocactus, sometimes referred to still as parodia. But look at this beautiful bud. It's like a yellowy green colour on the outside. I'm really looking forward to seeing the flower, particularly the colour of the stigma. So this flower stayed like this for days and days and days. It just wasn't the right weather for it. And this was the best that I could get, but it has a beautiful coloured purpley pink stigma. And I did do a short time-lapse video as well. So this is the time lapse, and I did this outside in full sunshine, and despite that it still would not open up. So this was the best footage that I could get of this flower opening. So I do have two of these cactuses, but only one of them produced a flower bud this year. So had this flower fully opened, it would have been well over 5 centimetres in diameter, so a rather big flower. And it's like a yellow lemon colour with a slight green. So look at the close-up here of that beautiful stigma. So this one is a Notocactus tursecianus, 3 plants in one pot, and they all produced a flower bud on each cactus, and they produced these funny looking spines along with the buds. So I got this back in November 2020, and this is going to be the first time that I've seen it come into flower. And you can see I've kept those 2 old flower buds, which you can just see by the plant label, just for reference, so I knew what they were going to look like. So this is Mammillaria prolifera, and so called because it produces so many flowers and fruit pods. This next cactus is a Gymnocalycium mahanovichi variegata, and this was a beautiful gift from Daz and Edith of Cacti Mania here on YouTube. And you can see the 2 beautiful flower buds here. These were the first to develop. 2 more buds there just coming up, but they didn't go on to flower. So just a quick update on my Gymnocalycium mahanovichi variegata. So you can see here I've left the flower bud here. This just randomly fell off. It was in the same stage as this, but had been slightly open for a bit longer. This is the second bud, so that was the smallest one to develop. And Daz and Edith mentioned that they looked slightly different in colour, and they were right. The outer petals, if you want to call them that, had a slightly different colour to them than this one here. But this one dropped off the other day, and it's just the weather. We've had such awful weather again, cloud and rain and cooler temperatures, and the flower just doesn't want to open. So I've moved it across under my foldable grow lights since yesterday, and it just won't budge. So I've had astrophytum flowers in full bloom, but these Gymnocalycium flowers just don't want to open because there just isn't enough heat or consistent heat day after day. Because we could just get fluctuating temperatures. I'm just having real trouble getting these Gymnocalycium flowers to fully open. So I'm going to have to try and cut this flower off and see what I can do with this one, see if I can try and pollinate it using one of my pink flowering Gymnocalycium mahanovichi, which I've already prepared the pollen from that one to transfer to this one. So we'll see if we get lucky on this one. So it's quite sad when the next day I came down to check them and it was just fallen off. This is just a day's worth of drying out, so 24 hours later that's what it looks like. Now I've cut the flower in half, you can see that this would have been a very white flower, but I don't want to let that pollen sit there and die off and go to waste, so we'll try and make some use of it. So it's the next day, it's the 15th of August 2021, and look, I've just checked my Gymnocalycium mahanovichi variegata here, and look what's happened to the bud. So we pollinated it yesterday, and exactly the same as before, the next day the bud has dropped off. So that's exactly as I've found it. I haven't moved it until now. So you can see it's not attached at all. So that's really sad and disappointing. And then in comparison with this one here, you can see the bud at the far right at the back. That one is still attached so far. This one is the pink flower. So let's hope this one's going to stay on. It could drop off. So we're going to do an update on this Gymnocalycium fruit pod, which is developing, and it's changing colour quite a lot recently. So this has been ripening on the cactus plant for exactly 12 weeks. So it's been 12 weeks since I pollinated this flower, and it's developing seeds inside. So it's turning a pinky peach colour now, so it was a vivid green to start off with. And in the last few days, the colour has really started to change a lot. So both of these Gymnocalycium clumps that you can see, which are in 12 centimetre diameter terracotta pots, they flowered non-stop through the summer season. So I cross-pollinated the flowers between all of them from different pots, and none of them were successful. So this is the only one that I had that remained on the plant without falling off the next day or the next 2 or 3 days afterwards. So this one was pollinated with Gymnocalycium mahanovici variegata, which was the cactus plant gifted to me from Daz and Edith. Thank you so much for watching, and there will be some more videos to come with cactus in flower. Bye!